Good morning, everyone. I'm very happy to see you here today, and I'd like to take you on a journey of what happens when our dreams expire. And what if the bravest thing you could do is let go? Now, dreams are very odd things. They start as fantasies, turn into goals, and suddenly they turn into your identity. Now, I had a dream like that, a dream I had to let go. And nevertheless, it was quite painful to see it go, as it meant a lot to me. But before I get into my story, I would like to get back and rewind to our first dreams, our childhood. Now, in our childhood, everything's easier. We let go of dreams as if they didn't matter much. We let them go, and we don't think about them a lot. At first, you want to be a ballerina, then an astronaut, and we don't mourn them. We simply let them go. Now, in adulthood, it gets a bit more difficult. Dreams stick. We build our identities around them. We invest time, efforts, and personal self into them. It is quite difficult to understand the transition between childhood and adulthood, especially when it comes to dreams, but it is very important to understand how they're formed. Now, there's also one more issue. Dreams that change us can also trap us. Now, these dreams are very difficult, especially if they're led by not our ambitions, by not our dreams, and not something we want to tell people. Now, my dream was very similar to this, as it was led by maybe not even my ambition. It was something that I was inspired to do. However, it might have not been the best option. But I would like to go back also to a bit of psychology, because that's where the dreams come from. Now, in psychology, it is mainly called that these dreams come from self-continuity, a topic that concerns our past connecting to our imagined future. Now, these dreams can become these links between who we are and who we wish to become. Now it's very easy to create very complex dreams and create huge links between our past and our future. However, they also lead to great imbalances. Now, in my case, this imbalance was quite large. My dream became a very wild thing, to be honest. And it was led mainly by fear. It was led mainly by fear and the wish to escape. Now, before I get into my story, because you're probably all wondering what it is by now, I would like to also bore you a bit more about psychology. I find it very interesting that most of these dreams are led by the holy mantra of psychology: the fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Now, I decided to freeze in my story, but we'll get to that later. But it is very important to understand these things, as we create dreams all the time. We create different versions of ourselves, and we live them. We want to live them. Of course, we give up on some of them. However, most of them are what we do later in life. They are the key to our future. Now, when my dream, like many of the others here, the crazy and ambitious, I wanted to finish high school abroad. Now, of course, I didn't exactly want an exchange program. I wanted something more. I wanted the real deal. I wanted a full commitment, and I wanted it fast. That's probably where everything went downhill. But what I really did want was to leave. I wanted to prove that I can start over. And, well, many people say that when one door closes, another one opens. And to be honest, I am a firm believer that sometimes both doors are locked shut, and the only thing you have left is a window. Now, this dream was my window. It was the only proof that I can start over. I can leave, I can be my own person, and I can accomplish something impressive. And of course, that might have not been the healthiest mindset. But this dream was very real to me. it seemed like I had everything planned out. I had it mapped out. I had it all up to date, calendars, classes. I was living a second life almost. This dream created its own life. It was a different reality almost. And it was very difficult to distinguish it at some point, whether I was traveling between my own life and the dream I had planned for myself. And what's very important that you don't get lost in these dreams like I did. My dream consumed me whole. Of course, I saw cracks in it, and of course, it made me wonder. It made me wonder, what could I do different? What could I change so that this dream would work out? Of course, it was mainly led by ambition and the wish to escape, so there wasn't much to change, but I think that this time, I wouldn't care so much what others thought. That's very broad to say. It's very easy to say, but hard to do, especially as perception is extremely important when it comes to our dreams, our wishes. And currently, I think that, well, I'm doing a TED Talk right now. Of course, there's a huge fear of being perceived, and I'm sure that everyone else here is terrified. But I think that's where dreams come in. They bring comfort. Even when they haunt sometimes us with the if-onlys and what-ifs, they bring comfort. And my comfort was from this whole new reality that I brought. And to be honest, this dream had such a chokehold on me that I actually remember entering these doors for the first time ever. I was terrified, as anyone would be on the first day of school, but I had something that was holding me up. I had this dream. And now it seems very funny, but I thought to myself then, just 1 year. Just 1 year. Give yourself 1 year and you're off. You're off to do the greatest things in all the greatest places. Just 1 year. Just 1 year, stay here, get through it, and then you're free. Then your dream can take place, it can live. And of course, it does seem quite funny at this point, especially when you put it in perspective, but it was real then. And I am ashamed of how long I actually believed it. I believed it for way too long, but at the same time, I don't think I will ever be able to let it go. At least I don't think I'll ever be able to let go of this feeling. The feeling of being so connected with what I wanted. The feeling of being there, of having something to lean back on. And of course, everything changed over this year. I found myself in a completely different place, but this dream stayed. Now, the whole build-up to it was quite extravagant. I planned everything. I had applications ready. I had letter recommendations. I was ready. And you might think it's extremely stupid that it didn't work out for me, because after all, the choice was mine. I was left one day with the application, with the one button, submit. I froze. I couldn't. I didn't apply. And sure, was it scary? Yes, I mean, I thought about it all the time. It was something that I thought on the million different ways like what could happen. I thought maybe I could apply and decline later. Maybe apply and go even. But the worst was that I knew deep down that even if I got the offer, the only confidence and the only comfort I could get was from saying no, from not going. And this is a point where cognitive dissonance comes in. It's a term many of you probably heard, and it tends to be described when it comes to disorders, but do not fret. It happens to everyone, and it is actually quite important. It's, to simply put it, it's the fact how our minds hate contradictions. We hate it. And what else more contradictory than deciding that what you wanted for your whole life doesn't fit you anymore? I mean, if you tell yourself, oh, I want to do this, I want to be that person, and then one day you wake up and decide, this isn't for me, this just isn't me, oh, it hurts. It hurts so much that it becomes so confusing, and you get so lost. And that's pretty much what happened to me. I was lost in my dream. And whenever I tried to get out, I got lost again. And even when I wanted to maybe go further, try a bit more, I got lost in the labyrinth I created. And maybe it makes a bit more sense, puts things into perspective, that when you're lost, you will eventually find yourself. I mean, it makes sense, right? But still, from the outside, my decision must have been completely unreasonable. And that's all right. I still think about it. I still think about the if onlys, the what could have beens. If I applied, if I tried, maybe I wouldn't be here today. Maybe I'd be somewhere else. And that pain stays with me almost every day. I think about it whenever something bad happens. I consider maybe this wouldn't have happened. Maybe I would have been somewhere else. And maybe I would have avoided all this if I just applied. And it all just comes down to that one moment. Where I froze, where I couldn't do it. And of course, it was very difficult for me to deal with this, especially as I have connected a large part of my identity with this dream. I stumbled upon a concept called possible selves. It's the idea that our mind creates many versions of ourselves that we could become. And we usually try them on like outfits, the policeman, the doctor. It's quite often, especially during your childhood, but it happens throughout your whole life. Now, my possible self was the girl who left. The girl who left everything behind. She left, packed her bags, and started over. That was the point that was very important to me. The ability to have a clean slate, to create my own life without anyone else. Of course, not metaphorically, but without anyone else's ideas or anything being forced into my life. And at this point, these possible selves usually get discarded, most of them, because they don't fit our core self. Our core self is the deep part of who we are, our identity, and it's the thing that we apply every single day. Now, I found that this possible version of myself was most impressive. And I clung on to her. I mean, she was dazzling and magnificent. I mean, how could I cut her off like that? She was so shiny, maybe not authentic, but shiny. She had everything I wanted, everything. And cutting her off and letting it go made me feel like I was destroying my whole life's work, tearing up my autobiography, deciding that it didn't matter anymore. But right now I think about it, it's for the better. It's for the better that I let her go, because it wasn't exactly real. I knew that during my time there, even if I managed to achieve my dream, I would be going to a place people were born into. I couldn't have possibly slipped between the inside jokes, the unspoken rules, even the invisible strings between people. I possibly couldn't. So, and that fear made me scared, of course. I was terrified of being on the outs, and it made me wonder, was it all worth it? Was the shininess and the pearliness of the whole thing worth it? Especially as when this dream probably came from the fact how I wanted to escape, as I said before. I wanted to start over, and this dream probably would have died on its own unless someone told me something. I remember telling someone about this dream, explaining every single detail, pouring my heart out. I remember that. I remember them later saying the most beautiful thing that I don't think I'll ever forget. They told me, this is perfect. This is perfect for you. I can really see you doing this. And honestly, it only took one person to say that they believed in me. Now, without that, this dream probably would have died on its own. I probably would have given up on it I would have realized it's completely unrealistic and quite actually pathetic, but that one person made me believe in myself. I wanted to hold on, I wanted to cling on, and I wanted to prove them right. I wanted to thank them. But now, I don't think I ever will be able, since I didn't go. But maybe it's for the better. Maybe it is for the better that I let that dream go, that I didn't go through with it. Because in all honesty, it wouldn't have ended well for me. I mean, it was something I was so intrigued in and something I really wanted to do, but I don't think I ever had the actual courage to do it. I only had the wish, and I only had a dream. And as real as it felt to me, it never actually became what I wanted it to be. It never became reality. And that's what differentiates, of course, dreams from reality. They are fragments of our imagination. And of course, as important as they are, especially when it comes to ambition, which, as we know, is a double-edged sword, they create our life, they create our future, they build us. Now, back to ambition, it can lead you to do many different things, as seen as movies, books, and Instagram posts that glamorize it. If you're led by ambition that's borrowed or performative, it can hurt you. It can leave you exhausted. It can leave you beaten. And that's probably what also happened to me. This dream wasn't fully mine. It didn't fully belong to me, and it was heavily influenced by others. And that's also very important, as in this time, authenticity has become so valuable. And I think that's what I really wanted. I wanted it to be authentic. I wanted to be original. I wanted to be brave. I wanted to be the person that leaps headfirst. And I wanted to be real, especially since right now everything could be probably generated by a computer, but I wanted to be authentic. And that's the dissonance I had in my dream. My dream was not authentic at all. It was just something that I've heard someone do that seemed impressive to me, because I wanted this to be impressive. But I could have done it in so many different ways. It seems funny. It seems funny that I chose this path. And to be honest, I still ask myself, why did I do it? Why? Why didn't I just choose a vague dream of maybe doing good in school or having good friends, or maybe just being the superficial blonde people expect me to be? I wanted something else, and I still don't understand why, but I know I wanted something impressive. I know I wanted something shiny with my name on it. Maybe that's pride, and maybe it's weird to hear me say it, but I did want that. And I believe that everyone wants to be brave. Everyone wants to be proud of something that they've accomplished. So now I think back to that time. I think back to being completely immersed by this dream. How blinded I was, how many signs I've missed, and how much of the reality I didn't pay attention to. And I think to myself, I would never do this again. I would genuinely never do this again. Of course, it was a great experience, but it put me through hell. I lived, after declining, after not applying, the turmoil in my head, the if-onlys, the what could have beens, it made me a mess. It seemed fine on the outside, but in the inside, I was second-guessing myself, doubting. I didn't know what was real. I was consumed by doubt and by fear. So now, I'd like to leave you with one thing. What if leaving a dream is the best thing you could do? What if letting it go, even if it's very difficult, even if it's hard, even if it hurts, what if the best thing is to let go? Now, of course, it's difficult. It hurt me a lot when I had to move away, when I had to go back. But it made me feel free. In comparison to what my dream made me feel, this actually liberated me. It made me feel me again. Not a dream, not an idealized girl that moved away and started on her own, but me. So maybe the dreams do help us. Maybe we should have them, of course, but maybe we also should let some go, and we should be able to distinguish those that are ours and those that are forced onto us. So maybe what really matters is that the dreams that we leave behind are the ones that shape us more than the ones we actually pursue. But I don't think anyone's putting that on a birthday card. Thank you.